The dust sits on your tongue before you taste fear. You've got accreditation papers in a plastic sleeve, 2 notebooks wrapped in tape, and a camera that never really turns off. The platoon moves like shadows through elephant grass. Your military radio is dead quiet. This is your life, level by level, inside a Vietnam War correspondent left behind during Tet. Act 1. Embedded at the front line. When your pen feels like both shield and sword. Your day starts before light. A poncho liner, damp socks, and a helmet you never stop hearing. You sit in on the company's security brief under a tarp grid coordinates, call signs, the rule you keep repeating. Don't wander, don't photograph maps, don't ask questions on the net. You check your gear by touch. Nikon body. 2 rolls of triax in an ammo pouch. Notebooks in a zip bag. The platoon is camo paint, insect repellent, and cigarettes crushed down to the filter. You walk when they walk. You stop when a hand goes up. Distant artillery thumps like a door closing somewhere you can't see. You tell yourself you're here to document. You tell yourself your pen is protection. You tell yourself observation counts as distance. But the boundary is thin. One wrong step and you're not a witness, you're a casualty number on a morning report you'll never read. In the bush, your byline is just another dog tag without the chain. Act 2. An ominous silence. When silence is more terrifying than gunfire. The radio rides against your ribs in its canvas harness, heavier each hour it stays mute. No clipped voices. No, over. Just static when you twist the volume knob. The point man keeps cutting the jungle with his machete, careful and slow, because the quiet means something. You pass a bomb crater full of green water. You step over fresh bamboo punji stake someone already flagged with a strip of torn engineer tape. Updates don't come. No new grids. No artillery check-ins. The lieutenant's map stays folded, like opening it might make the bad news real. A recon team ghosts back at dusk, faces gray with sweat, whispering about movement near a hamlet with a name you can't pronounce. You write it down anyway. You tell yourself comms fail all the time. You tell yourself the next ridge will bring reception. You tell yourself you're still just visiting. Then you realize your only connection to command is the men who don't trust silence, and silence is the only thing answering you. Act 3. Blood and ink. When truth makes enemies. Contact comes like a trap snapping shut. 1 second you're watching a soldier ease a boot off the trail to piss. The next there's a crack and dirt jumps near your knee. You drop hard. Your camera knocks your teeth. The air smells like cordite and wet leaves. Someone yells, incoming, and the jungle fills with the fast, tearing sound of rounds hitting trees. You shoot frames without thinking, hands, faces, the medic's red-stained gloves, a helmet rolling into a puddle. A booby trap goes off down the line. A sharp pop, then a scream that doesn't stop. You crawl to a termite mound and press your notebook flat, trying to keep it clean, as if paper cares. In a lull, the young lieutenant leans in close, voice low. Some people back at HQ are calling you non-essential. The word lands like a weight. You tell yourself truth matters. You tell yourself the photos will get printed. You tell yourself you're still separate. But every click of the shutter is a decision, and the negatives feel like a list of names you can't carry out. You've survived the silence and the first real blood. Next, the platoon stops treating you like luggage. They start treating you like family, and family doesn't get to stay neutral. Act 4. Bonds forged in fire. When the line between observer and brother disappears. At dusk, they make room for you like you've always been part of the file. You get a share of the sea rations, peaches, not beans, and a canteen cup of instant coffee that tastes like burned pennies. Someone smears more camo paint on your cheeks with 2 fingers, quick and practical. The perimeter is a thin ring of men and claymores, trip flares wired to saplings, a single PRC-25 battery swapped like it's gold. The jokes get quieter. The hands get steadier. The lieutenant starts telling you where to lay when the firing starts, not as an order, as advice. You find yourself counting magazines by sound, 20 rounds, then another, then the hollow click that means someone is out. You tell yourself you're still just documenting. You tell yourself you don't owe anyone anything. You tell yourself attachment is a luxury. Then a kid from Ohio slips you his spare bandage, like it's normal, and you understand. Neutrality is a door that doesn't open from this side. Here, your press pass is just paper, your real credential is the way they stop stepping around you. Act 5, the last broadcast. When your voice is the only lifeline left. Morning brings a sky the color of old steel. They find high ground, an eroded rise with a dead tree on top, and you climb it like it's a pulpit. The radio finally coughs. Static, then a broken voice, then nothing. You hold the handset close, listening for call signs you wrote down in grease pencil. Alpha 26, dust off, red leg. The lieutenant gives you his map for 10 seconds, just long enough to read a grid and memorize it like a prayer. You relay what you can. Locations, smoke, friendly strength, enemy fire from the tree line. Your mouth goes dry, shaping numbers, 168, 042, because numbers are the only language anyone trusts right now. You tell yourself the net will answer. You tell yourself someone is logging this. You tell yourself your voice can't get men killed. Then the reply comes, thin and distant. Extract is delayed. Priority is the city. Tet is everywhere. Your broadcast leaves your body and vanishes into the air like a flare that never blooms. Act 6. Choosing survival. When you decide what you'll trade to make it out. The first time you move without being told, nobody stops you. You're carrying water forward. You're pulling a man by his web gear when he can't find his feet. You've learned the sound difference between outgoing and incoming, learned that fear has a tempo. A medevac never comes. The jungle stays loud with insects and quiet with everything else. They strip weight. Extra ammo goes to the point. A steel pot becomes a shovel. You take your notebooks out, pages already curled with humidity, and you tear out anything that could name a source, villager descriptions, a sergeant's full name, the hamlet spelled phonetically. You wrap the film tighter. You hide one roll in your boot. You tell yourself it's only paper. You tell yourself you'll remember the details. You tell yourself the story is bigger than the pages. When they finally move at night, you follow in the exact footprint ahead of you, and you realize survival isn't bravery, it's accounting. In the dark, you don't trade truth for safety. You trade truth for time. When dawn finally finds you, it doesn't feel like rescue. It feels like a receipt. You still have your camera. You still have your hands. You still have the sentences you didn't write and the names you didn't save. Rank never mattered out there, only proximity. And even now, when the fighting fades to headlines, you can still taste dust on your tongue, measuring what you kept against what you left.